All right, Surface Transportation Board, uh, Part 1177. All right, Parts 1177 through 1179 are securities, interest, financial structures. 1177 recordation of documents. 1177 1 definition classification documents. 1172 to whom the document should be submitted for recordation. 1173 requirements for submission. 1174 samples forms. 1170 1177 5 administrative procedures. All right, 1177.1 definitions and classifications. A primary document is a mortgage, excluding the ownership of the Mortgage Act of 1920 as amended with the Title 46 U.S. Standard Code, a tenant sequence lease, equipment trust agreement, conditional sales agreement with assignment of the leases which have not previously filed with the other instruments, evidence of the mortgage lease, conditional sale or bailment of one or more vessels operated subject to Surface Transportation Board jurisdiction, rail cars, locomotives, or other rolling stock for related intrastate commerce. A secondary document is any assigned right of interest supplement with the amendment of any primary other secondary document. This includes release of the discharge satisfactory either total or partial. 1177.2 to whom the document shall be submitted for the recordation. Documents to the recorder submitted within person via the board website or mailed by to the address the Chief Section Administrator Office for the Proceedings of the Transportation Board, Washington, D.C. 204230001. All documents submitted by the mail should clearly state that the documents form the document on the envelope. All right, 1177 3. Requirements of the submission. In order to accept the recordation original with the primary secondary document must be in writing, executed with the party for the document with acknowledged edge and verified either in a form authorized the loss of the state with the territory, district, or possession, executed for the acknowledgement of the acknowledgement, verification of the deeds for the land, and substantial as follows. Alright, an individual form acknowledgement. I name a signer, certify that I am person described in and who execute the foregoing instrument that I acknowledge that I execute the same with the free act of the deed with the further declare, certifying, verifying the trade with the penalty of the perjury under the law of the United States of the America. If executed outside of the United States, if the foregoing is true, correct, executed on the date, signature, or a corporate form of an acknowledgement, I name and a signer, certify that I am entitled of the name of the corporation that sealed affixed of the foregoing instrument is the corporate seal with the side of the corporation. That instrument was signed and sealed on behalf of the corporation by the authority of the board of directors. They acknowledge the execution foregoing instrument is free of act of deed with the corporation. Further to declare, certifying, verifying the state with under penalty of perjury under the law of the United States, if it executed outside of the United States of America, if the foregoing is true, executed on date, signature, and then or 3 substantially as follows: individual form acknowledgement state of the county of SS on the day of the blank of the 19 blank or 20 blank before personally appeared with the name of the signer to know that the person described and who executed the foregoing statement she acknowledges that she has executed the same his or her free act of the deed, seal, signature of a notary public. Signature of the notary of public. My commission expired with the corporate form of acknowledgement, state of, county of, and SS of the blank of the date of the 20th century, 21st century before. Personally appear with the name of the signer of the personally know of the being of the day duly sworn, says that she or he total office with the name of the corporation, he seal affixed to foregoing instrument with the corporate seal with the said of the corporation, said instrument was signed and sealed on the behalf of the said corporation authority by the board of directors. She acknowledged that the execution of the foregoing instrument was free act with the deed instead of the corporation seal signature notary public by commission expires. Blank. Maybe a company with at least one fully executed, acknowledged, verified with the counterpart with the execute with acknowledged with the five parts with the one certified true with the certified true copy of the original document is complete with the identified copy with all the respect for the original attached with a certificate execute with the notary public stated that he or she with the compared with a copy of the original and found with a copy of the complete the identical in all aspects all respects for the original document certification of filing stated that he or she is compared with a copy of the original found with a copy of the complete with identical and all respect for the original document that he or she declares under the property of the perjury under the laws of the United States of America, if executed outside of the United States, that the foregoing is true and correct, there may be detached with a copy of the affidavit that wherein the affidavit that he or she is compared with a copy of the original document found with a copy of the complete identical in all respect for the original document be accompanied for the fee set for the Title 49 CFR 1022 F83. However, the assignment of the executed the prior to filing with the primary document which is submitted with the concurrently will be treated along with the primary document with the one over the free, one for fee purposes of the assigned only one fee with the lease for the agreement of Philadelphia plan shall be similarly treated to be accompanied by the letter of the transmittal requesting recording with a document with the receipt sample of the letter 1177-4. Documents submitted with concurrently under the same recordation with the number that may be included with a single with the transmitter letter. Otherwise, document must have its own letter with the transmittal letter. Letter should be addressed with the chief section administrator. Office of proceeding, including the following information: type of agreement, equipment of the truth of the mortgage assignment, etc. with the document, primary document, the secondary document, and C 1177-1. If the document, secondary document, is and must contain the recordation of the number of the primary document to which it is connected, unless it is being filed concurrently with the primary document to which the recordation of the number has not been assigned. A request for the cross-indexing of the document with the assignment of the parties may request the listing of the assignment and the index under the name of the parties for the continuing interest not into the involved particular assignment, a description of the equipment over the covered of in the document of the railway equipment, the type of the equipment of the locomotive, the cars of the rolling stock within the AAR mechanical designation number of each of the type of identified with the mark, such as the name and the initials of the lease and the mortgage vendor, and the road over the serial number with which may be one over the type of each of the equipment, the first of the last inclusive of the waiver carrier equipment, where the towboats of the barges of the vessels, type of the equipment, the description contained with the United States Coast Guard certificate enrollment number for each of the type of the equipment identified with the mark, such as the name and the initial of the lease of the leaser and mortgager and vendor. Parties to the agreement is filed with the conditional sale vendor and purchaser, grantor, mortgager, mortgagee, grantor, guarantor, equipment, trust vendor, truster, leaser, lesser, guarantor of lease of the lesser, leaser, guarantor, bailer, bailee, guarantee, other transaction principal, debtor, trustee, grantor, guarantor, or other parties to whom the original document should be returned the amount of the enclosed fee. 8. A short summary of the type of the documents. 2. And very brief description of the equipment. Identify the number of the summary with the image of the index of the BA with the researching the encumbrances of the title for example the summary of 1174-7. 4. The letter must be signed by the executive officer of one of the parties that have acknowledged for the manner of the described in the letter and the attorney of the representative of the fact. Then it goes, note with the document of the mortgage deed of the trust contained hereafter of the acquired similar clause of the statement that may include the letter of the transmittal lieu of the equipment, the description include with the property coverage with the aforesaid of the mortgage deed of the trust that here identified with the general equipment of the barges, the towboats of the vessels, the railroad cars, locomotives, or other rolling stock identified with the relay with the interest with the interest of it and then owned by name of the mortgage of the day of the sale of the mortgage thereafter by its successor owner, the water carriers and lines of the railway covered by the mortgage. When such a mortgage deed of the trustee is filed, it is not necessary to refile the document with additional rolling stock with acquired in order to perfect lien of the document upon the additional vessel of the rolling stock. All right, 1177-4, sample forms. Sample short summary of the index of the primary document, type of the document between the name and the address of the leaser, of the mortgager, of the bailer, and etc. of the name of the address of the leaser, lesser, mortgager, and bailee, dated the date with the covering brief list of the amount and the type of the equipment for the secondary documents, if the assignment with the assignment between the name and the address and the assigner. Name and the address of the assignee, and the date of the assignment with covering a list amount of the type of the equipment for the connect with the type of the document, the primary document, the recordation number, the recordation number, the primary document, known with the time of the recorder, other secondary document, the type of the document, the type of the primary document of the recordation number, the primary document, the day of the amendment, supplement, release, and etc., and covering a list amount of the type of the equipment, a sample letter, transmittal. Chief Secretary of the Administrative Office of the Proceeding, the Chief Secretary of the Administrative of the Office of the Proceeding, Serve the Transportation Board, Washington, D.C. Dear Section Chief, I have enclosed the original copy of the counterpart of the document described below with the record pursuant Section 11301, Title 49 U.S. Standard Code of the document, the mortgage leaser of the equipment of the trust, the equipment, and etc. primary, secondary document, the date of the date. If the secondary document, the primary document with which the name of the record with the recordation number, if the assignment, the way we request the assignment of the cross-index with the name and the address of the party of the document is filed with the vendor, leaser of the mortgage, or etc. name and address. Vendor, lesser, mortgager, etc. Description of equipment with the coverage of the document that follows. Type of the equipment, each of the AR designation, if identifying marks or road or serial numbers, etc. Outline 1177-3D4. If the evidence is enclosed, return original any extra copy of the need of the board recordation party to whom the document should be returned. A short summary of the document appear with the index file with a short summary described in 1177-4A, very truly yours, to ensure the executive officer, one with the party of the attorney represented in fact. 1177-5, administrative procedure. At the time of the filing of the document with the board recommendation, consecutive with the number of the stamp of the original document and with the copy of the counterpart with the date and the hour following with a notation of acknowledgement with the document that has been filed with the pursuant to Title 49-11-303 with the will be made with the original document along with the notation will be returned with the party named in the transmittal letter the copy of the counterpart retained with the board with a secondary document with the number over the assigned with the recordation number and assigned with the recordation number of the primary document applied for the next available suffix. The board will maintain an index of public as required with the Title 49-11-03B with this will index for the part of the document recorded after the board of the alphabetical order or the party's name of the requested letter of the transmittal of the index of it will also be amended to reflect for the assignment of the name of the party or other assigner or assignee to the document that was also indexed with the document number which will list the secondary document with reference for the prior ones of the index will contain the pertinent information finished for the party for the transmittal letter. The board cannot judge valid documents, not judge status of the encumbrance of the property for the reflect for the documents recorded with the board of the public. Well, the poor public is welcome to research records of the use of the agent and the attorney to do so to provide board rules concerning handling of the documents. The respect for the public should note that the following document of the board is a creation of the encumbrance of the exists which is or not filed with the board. Alright, part 1178 through 1179 are reserved. Part 1180 through 89 are combinations and ownership.